Now, being a part of a 1.23 billion people continent, okay, we know that food security is a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Food security is a big deal. So, what at this time, what is the state of food security in Africa, and where do you think we are going? Where we want to land in 10 to 20 years time?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a sad commentary, I must say. Yes, that in some quarters, and when I mean quarters, I mean some countries in sub-Saharan Africa and Africa as a whole, food security has degenerated over the years. And so we, to be honest, it's more or less that Africa is generally more food insecure than secure. As of today, 1 out of 5 people are hungry in Africa. Wow. They do not have access to food. And despite the horrible land blessings that God, nature has given to us, despite the huge potentials of feeding the world, Africa still imports, is a net importer of agricultural commodities. And last year, 2022, we still invested about $43 billion.
Wow.
To import agricultural commodities of different sorts and various kinds from outside the continent. And that is huge. If that amount of money, or let me say half of that amount of money, is reinvested into agriculture in Africa, I mean, that can be a lot of changes, in terms of the food security in the country. Excuse me, in the continent. So to answer your question, we have a problem at hand. People are getting hungry every day. 282 million people are going hungry today as I speak, and they are going to increase to over 350 million in the next 20 years. If this trend continues.
Yeah.
So a lot of money are being invested to import food. The problems, both macro and micro, exist, but not just exist, they are increasing. Climate change tops one of the problems. Okay. That is existing. Population growth is increasing.
Yeah.
Just mention 1.23 billion.
And that scares me. That's why I mentioned the population, because in 10, 20 years, the population is going to be 60% more. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And about 2015 is going to double. It's going to double that. That number. So it's supposed to be a blessing, but if this trend, as far as food security is concerned, continues, I'm afraid it's going to be far away from being a blessing. Why? Because we have a young population.
Yes.
Passionate, intelligent, but needs to drive those virtues into the right.
It needs to be guided.
Right direction.
It needs to be guided.
Yes, absolutely, to be guided. And for me, among other things, I've realized that agriculture and agri-food system in general in Africa plays both foundational and primary basis for the continent's development.
Yeah,
there's no two-way to it.
Yeah,
most of African countries are filled with arable lands, uncultivated. And we realize that, it's just a time bomb.
Yes.
It's a time bomb if these things are not properly harnessed. And so that brings into all the problems that makes it not to be properly harnessed. And so going back to the question, food insecurity is growing. We have problems including population growth, problems including climate change, problems including conflicts.
Yeah.
But now I'm not talking about continental conflict or inter conflicts, intra conflicts.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, intra conflicts, and it's really killing a lot of. For example, let me give an example. Earlier last year, we went to a local community in Kogi State, and what we did was to work. There was an existing palm oil plant, but the palm oil plant had issues. So I worked with other team members to revive the palm oil plant, had additional equipment, commissioned it and all that. And so there's another community nearby who are supposed to be saddled with the supply of the raw materials, the fresh fruit bunches. Okay. And I think there's a law, as it were, that when this plant is being revived, your community is going to supply, the fresh fruit bunches. And then while we were still there, still working on the machines, we realized that there were communal clashes. So we felt, okay, maybe there were other issues that, caused the clashes and all that. Or to realize that security agents came to stay with us right at the factory. And we're wondering, nobody is harassing us here. What is happening? Then I asked, because I led the team, and then I asked what was happening. And they told us that actually the communal clashes is because of the processing plant. And that the community, you see, that the community where the processing plant is are saying now that they have other sources, for their fresh fruit bunches, and they won't probably take the fresh fruit bunches from the other community.
Wow.
It's supposed to be a win-win. It's supposed to be a win-win situation. They supply raw materials, they get their money from there. Then they have the processing plant, they get their own resources from there.
Yeah.
Now I understand there were oversight functions and all that, but what I'm trying to say is that, you see, that is just a community in the middle belt of the country in Kogi State. And this is a project that will
benefit everybody.
Everybody. In fact, it's a project that will benefit the entire state. Yeah, actually, it's quite huge. And so you can imagine, while we were still working, of course, they had to settle, cultural issues. History was behind the conflict and all that. They had to settle it. But I'm just saying, this is a project that should bring them together, and then promote exactly what is going to be promoted. So there are internal conflicts. And of course, I'm just saying this because this was my own experience.
Yeah, this is one small one that you
see. So, and there are many, many like that. And so those internal conflicts will have to be resolved from the bottom to top. People, the traditional rulers, really have to sit down there, educate them about the potentials and the benefits of these things to the community. And so that's why education also plays a very crucial role.
Yep. Wow. See, conflict is a major issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big one. See, conflict is one of the, for me, top 5 issue that is holding Africa back. And most of these conflicts are based on history, okay? And until we all of us are community leaders, are politicians, our educational system decide. See, that's the word. We need to decide that we want to solve these issues. Okay, because for me, maybe I'm being naive. I think we haven't decided, and that's why we have been handling all these things like it doesn't matter, but it matters.
It does absolutely matters.
It's killing people. It's depriving communities of development.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you.
Communities are the foundation of the country.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, that just came to mind as a result of conflicts. I've also been in communities where they work in harmony and they've had a blossom development. Yeah. From agriculture. In fact, they have invited investors who are now, maximizing the productivity level, utilizing the farm, the rural dwellers as laborers, and some of them have actually gone to school from the output resources that came from those projects. So
very good.
But I know that if we have less and less of conflict, intra conflicts, the development for agro-based development would have moved. As a matter of fact, agriculture at the rural community creates pathway for other developments. I know a community where just because they developed the agricultural sector, that community over the years had health centers, had schools, had infrastructure, more robust infrastructure facilities.
Yeah.
And before you know it, the children that came out of those communities are now coming back, to some of them actually went as far as studying abroad. They're actually coming back,
Yeah.
to establish even more
things
robust, more things.
Very good. Very important.
For the community.
Thank you for saying that.